So I spend a lot of time in my own thoughts, which is not a good idea for anyone for any length of time, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, one thought that has crossed my mind is the staggering thought of how many people have ever existed throughout the history of this world that God has created. It is a truly staggering number when you consider that there are over 8 billion people alive right now. Okay, but my thought isn't about the number of people who have ever lived. It's about the creative output of all of those people. Now, think about it. You and I and all of humanity are daily involved in both artistic and non-artistic creative endeavors. Every day of the week, every week of the year, and almost every year of our lives. We won't count the first few years where our only output of any kind is a wet or poopy diaper. But seriously, every moment of our lives, we have the potential to do creative things. Now, that is a lot of creative time for each of us individually, and when you combine that with the whole of humanity alive today and every single person who has ever lived since the creation of humanity, we are talking a lot of creative output. But think about that for a few moments, and you may come to the same conclusion that I did. We will never know the creative output of some of the most creative people ever, be it individuals or groups. You may think I'm crazy when I say that, but follow me on this for a minute. I have a few thoughts that may give you pause to consider what I am saying, or I could be crazy just like you thought at first. Now, first, let's consider the historical aspect of all of this. There is so much history that has been lost to the ravages of time. And today, we just don't know as much about the past as we think we do. We really only know a small fraction of what went on in the lives of people from the past. We know famous people, and we know about their creative output, but then there is the majority of people from history we got zero on today. So we all know who Leonardo da Vinci is, and we know all about da Vinci's work. But what about the stuff that his Uncle Ronnie did? We don't know about Uncle Ronnie's work. Okay, Leonardo didn't have an Uncle Ronnie. I made that up. But there had to be people who inspired little Leo, and we don't know anything about them or what they did. Leonardo didn't just come up with crazy things out of the blue. None of us do. People influenced him and inspired him. We know about some of those people, but not all of them. And probably not all of the people who inspired Leonardo. Okay, so let's also consider opportunity and desire. It takes both to have a creative legacy that survives the continual fate of history. Opportunity to do something creatively significant enough to make the history books just doesn't happen often. Some of the most creative people who have ever lived are most likely to never be known, simply because their skills, talents, and abilities didn't align with opportunities to use them beyond their own individual sphere of influence. Or maybe a bit worse than that, those skills, talents, and abilities stayed out of view of the world around them because of a lack of desire to use them in a way that would allow them to be seen. Now, every so often, you can see that on social media. There's a video of some middle-aged dude sitting in either his basement or in some cases, the basement of his parents. And that guy posts something like, I don't know, the most amazingly technical guitar solo ever, or something like that. And because of that video, he is social media famous for a hot second. That guy has all the skills, talents, and abilities, but probably had an issue with either opportunity or desire, or potentially both. And the result is that his creative output is never really fully appreciated. And there's also the issue of our fickleness as a people, especially when it comes to the whole social media dynamic. But again, that's a story for another day. Finally, I want to put an argument out there for us all to consider. Is it possible that we have missed out on the greatest creative talents to ever have lived because those individuals never really understood the greatness of their own creative potential? Think about it. People who created in the isolation of their own homes and never allowed others to experience their creative endeavors. I honestly think that it is not only possible, but highly probable that this is the case. And think about all of what we have missed out on as a people because of that. Okay, there is also one more thing to consider and to think about in all this is the flip side of it. Think about all of the subjectively and even objectively bad creative output we have thankfully missed out on. I guess the fate of history and the lack of opportunity for some creative endeavors is not all that bad a thing. Looks like this is a bit of a blessing and a curse type of thing, I guess. So let me wrap this up by encouraging you with something that takes a bit of humility and emotional health to get and apply in our lives. It is okay to create and never be known by the masses and to never have a name that survives the ravages of time. The goal of doing anything creatively should not be for fame or for being known 100 years from now. Neither of those things will matter to any of us in the grand scheme of things. What does matter is that we continue to create simply for the sake of creating. Because as we say often here, we are all created to create for God's glory and for our good. So I encourage you, simply for the joy in it, to go, create, and be a blessing. You can support our channel by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to get notified when new content comes out, and liking our videos. If you'd like to consider supporting our team financially, there's a link in the video description with more details. Those things will help our channel for sure, but if you do nothing else, please spend some time in the comments of our videos encouraging one another to create, to help others create, and to help grow that creative nature within us all. Oh, and you can check out these videos too. Thanks. We'll see you again soon.